Let's talk about Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints because there's a lot to discuss with this entire situation. Dating back to a couple months ago, the New Orleans Saints brought in a brand new head coach and Kellen Moore. They fired Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was a terrible head coach for many years with the Saints. They finally pulled the trigger. They also restructured the contract with Derek Carr, which it's the New Orleans Saints. They're going to always restructure contracts. This is something Mickey Loomis has done on a consistent basis over the last 8 to 9 years. The problem is this: Derek Carr, when he was a free agent, when he got cut by the Las Vegas Raiders, he signed a 4-year deal worth $150 million with the New Orleans Saints. They are still eating that contract till this day. The only reason why Derek Carr is still with the Saints is because of that contract. If they could cut him at the same time they fired Dennis Allen, they would have, because Dennis Allen really wanted to bring in Derek Carr. He wanted the quarterback option. After seeing Jameis Winston, after seeing Andy Dalton, he was done with those quarterbacks. He goes over, he brings in Derek Carr. Derek Carr's first season with the Saints, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. He had 25 passing touchdowns, and he only had 8 interceptions on the year. But they ran it back for one more season, and this would be the season from hell. Derek Carr would be suffering from injuries all season long. He missed time with an oblique injury that he suffered against the Kansas City Chiefs Monday Night Football. Later on in that season, he has a fracture in his hand. He was done for the rest of the season, and he's 34 years old. His current record with this organization is 14-13, and he's getting paid franchise quarterback money. By them going out there and restructuring his contract, he's getting paid $40 million next season, whether he's fully healthy or not. Now, the Saints, they did know about the injuries to his hand and to his oblique. So did everyone else. I did not know about this shoulder injury, and I can't pinpoint back in the regular season to where he suffered this shoulder injury. If he has to have shoulder surgery, why not go back and do this a couple months ago? And you're just trying to wait to feel things out and do this right now? It's the off season. If he has to have shoulder surgery, he may miss portions of this upcoming season. And once again, we're talking about a quarterback that's getting paid $40 million. If I'm the New Orleans Saints, I'm done with Derek Carr. It's time to move on. We got to see Spencer Rattler come in for 7 games last season. He only had 4 passing touchdowns and 5 interceptions, but it was more than Derek Carr that was dealing with injuries. Rashid Shaheed missed majority of the season. He had a torn meniscus. Chris Olave missed a lot of time. He suffered a concussion. But before I get into the rest of the roster, the Derek Carr decision is still mind-boggling to me. I know that Dennis Allen wanted to bring him in, but he should have never been the head coach to begin with. And who hired him to be the head coach? Mickey Loomis did. The Saints have been a shell of themselves since Sean Payton retired at that time. He took a year off. He went back to the Denver Broncos. He came back to the NFL. He's with that organization because he got to see the writing on the wall. The fact that Mickey Loomis continues to bring in aging players that's behind their prime, kicking the can down the road, says a lot about him as a general manager, and he still has his job. I also blame ownership for this. Bringing in Derek Carr was just a nail in the coffin here. Derek Carr is not worth the money that he's getting paid right now, because he did not even come off a great year with the Las Vegas Raiders. His last season with the Raiders, you would have thought that he went out there and he had a career high in passing touchdowns and a career low in interceptions. He had 24 passing touchdowns to 14 interceptions. And it is not fair for me to come on here and say that he's been the biggest reason to why the Saints haven't made the playoffs in the last 2 years. He's not, because the roster around him has not been good enough. The coaching staff around him has not been good enough. But people said the same things about Derek Carr when he was with the then Oakland and Las Vegas Raiders. He is just not going to be a quarterback that gets you to the NFL playoffs and you can make a deep playoff run with. It's not going to happen. He's not a terrible quarterback, but he's not top 10. He's not top 15. He's better than quarterbacks like Drew Lock. He's better than quarterbacks like Jameis Winston, Daniel Jones, and Anthony Richardson. But that's not saying much. And the fact that he's getting paid this much money and he's dealing with injuries right now, it puts the Saints in a tougher situation. But there's some bright spots here. I really like Kellen Moore as a coach. He's a stellar offensive mind, in my opinion. What he got to do with the Dallas Cowboys was phenomenal. He was a very good offensive coordinator with the Cowboys. Mike McCarthy threw that man underneath the bus. He went to Jerry Jones and he told him, I'm going to throw the football less. We're going to run the football more. He blamed Kellen Moore for not running the football more, only to just go back the season after they fired him. Mike McCarthy called plays. They're throwing the football at a career high with Dak Prescott, and they're not running the football that much. And the Dallas Cowboys were in the worst situation with Mike McCarthy than they were with Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore goes over to the Los Angeles Chargers. He's working things out with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is dealing with a finger injury. You can't run plays from under center if your quarterback is dealing with a hand injury. So what does he do? He goes out there. Let's do some more plays from shotgun. Let's run some more motion plays. And he tried his best with Justin Herbert. And early on, he was successful. But Justin Herbert was dealing with more and more injuries into his season. He was going out there. He's playing with a backup quarterback. He wasn't able to do much. Then he goes over to the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is where things really got to click for Kellen Moore. Because just a couple of years before, Mike McCarthy came out and he said, hey, we're not running the football at a high rate. That was a main weakness of Kellen Moore. He gets too pass happy. And the same with the Los Angeles Chargers. He goes over to the Philadelphia Eagles. They have a strong offensive line, the best offensive line in the NFL as I record this video. One of the best running backs in football in Saquon. They ran the football at a high rate with Jalen Hurts and with Saquon, and they just won a Super Bowl over the Kansas City Chiefs. He helped elevate the game of Jalen Hurts because just a year before, Jalen Hurts did not look good against the blitz. Kellen Moore comes out, does more motion plays. He gets A.J. Brown the football, gets Devontae Smith the football, the same with Dallas Goedert. He knows how to get the best out of the players that he's coaching up. So now look at the Saints right now as with him being your head coach, it may take some time, but he's going to build the right team and you have the right weapons on the outside. You have Chris Olave. I still have a lot of faith in Chris Olave. To me, he is still a top wide receiver in the NFL in terms of running routes. 12 to 15 yards out, he's smooth. He's a smooth route runner. This is a problem with Chris Olave. He doesn't have that chemistry with Derek Carr. Him and Derek Carr, they are rarely on the same page. And Derek Carr is always throwing this man in double coverage, in triple coverage. He's throwing him straight into linebackers. And a lot of those concussion injuries are because of Derek Carr. He is throwing hospital balls. We've heard Michael Thomas complain about this. We've heard Devontae Adams complain about this from other quarterbacks like Jimmy Garoppolo. He is not putting the wide receivers in the best situations to be in. Now, he did have very good chemistry with Rashid Shaheed and the same with Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They're not polished route runners. Not to say that they can't run routes because they can. They're more so targets down the field. Go route wide receivers, post route wide receivers. That's what they are. And Derek Carr can just throw the football up. He doesn't have that touch accuracy that you're looking for out of a quote-unquote franchise quarterback because he's getting paid like one. And I will give him the excuses. Him and Chris Olave have been on the same page. Chris Olave is not in the spot at the right time. Pete Carmichael was a terrible offensive coordinator. The offensive lines have not been that great with Derek Carr. I fully understand that. But when you're getting paid what he's getting paid, you're expected to go out there and uplift this franchise. They're in a similar spot that they were in with Andy Dalton, that they are now in with Derek Carr. And Derek Carr was supposed to come in and get this team to the NFL playoffs. That has not been the case. And when I look at this current state of the New Orleans Saints, it's going to be time to move off of Derek Carr sooner than later. If you cut him after next season, the cap hit will be abysmal. It will be $59.6 million against the cap. Something that this team cannot afford right now. Because they are still going out there and they're still dealing with salary cap problems once again because of Mickey Loomis. And when I look at Spencer Rattler, because there's a possibility that he could be the starting quarterback for this upcoming season, I would just stick with him. If Derek Carr cannot play week 1, I will stick with Spencer Rattler and you see what he has because he's a young quarterback and maybe he can fit the system with Kellen Moore. But he never got to play with Rashid Shaheed. He never got to play with Chris Olave. He never had a healthy team around him. Not a fully healthy team. He's playing with the number 3 and the number 4 wide receiver. And the offensive line was banged up. Let's not forget, Ryan Ramczyk missed all of last season. And he's expected to retire. He's going to submit in that paperwork. So when next season rolls around, he's not going to be on the depth chart like how he is right now because he's not going to come back and play football ever again because of that knee injury. And he was one of the best tackles that the Saints had. Very short career. He was a phenomenal player. But now you have Talasay Fuaga. He looked very good at the left tackle position. He was a rookie last season. He comes into year number 2. Hopefully he'll be better. You have Trevor Penning at the right tackle position. He's had some up and down moments. Hopefully he can work out because you selected him in the first round a few years back. You have Cesar Ruiz and you have Eric McCoy. You have some young players on this offensive line. I'm looking at the tackle position. If you could put Spencer Rattler into the right situation with those wide receivers, you have Alvin Kamara in the backfield, mixed in with Kendre Miller, you may have something. And it's not me saying that Spencer Rattler is going to be the best quarterback that the Saints have had since Drew Brees. But I do believe right now he will be a better option than Derek Carr. He's not making that much money. He's still on a rookie deal. You didn't select him in the first round. But the fact that Derek Carr let this team go out there and restructure his contract, and he knew damn well that he was dealing with that shoulder injury, says a lot about Derek Carr. Because as soon as the season ended, he said, I'm not going to go out there. I'm not going to take a pay cut. He had that opportunity to do so. And I don't feel bad for owners. I don't feel bad for general managers. They make so much money. But Derek Carr, this shoulder injury came out of left field. We're just learning about this now. But I look at Spencer Rattler, that would be the valuable option with the Saints moving forward unless they make this move. There's a lot of analysts saying in the first round, Shedeur Sanders may fall past the Giants. He may fall past the Browns. And he may be there with the 9th overall pick. If he is there, select Shedeur Sanders and go with him. The last time the Saints selected a quarterback in the first round was Archie Manning many decades ago. And that's the father of Peyton and Eli Manning. But I look at Shedeur, that touch accuracy that he has, that poise that he has is phenomenal. He's my second best quarterback in this draft class, and I do believe that he will be a very good starter in the NFL. But you should not trade up for Shedeur Sanders. Let him fall to you. Because it's a chance that the Steelers may come out of nowhere. They may select him. Or the Browns may say, to hell with this. We're going to take him with the 2nd overall pick. Or the Giants will take him. There's talent there with Spencer Rattler. And from all the reports I'm seeing right now, Kellen Moore has done a lot of homework on Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart. I've seen Kellen Moore before work with quarterbacks. He can get the best out of them like I mentioned before, so I'm not worried about that. But don't trade up for Shedeur Sanders. Don't go out there and trade a 1st or 2nd round pick to go get him. Let him fall to you. That would be a perfect situation with the Saints. But regardless, it's time to move off of Derek Carr. And even if he's still in this roster, let him be a backup quarterback. Because eventually you have to see what you have besides Derek Carr in the future in this room. I don't believe that Jake Haener is going to be the guy, but Spencer Rattler, there's a lot of upside there. I know that he went late in the NFL draft a year ago, but coming out of high school, there was a lot of hype around him. He went to OU. Lincoln Riley was coaching him up. He got benched in favor of Caleb Williams, and he was solid at South Carolina. When I look at the rest of the Saints roster, the reason why I'm saying don't go out there and don't trade up for Shedeur Sanders, you still need a pass rusher in the worst way possible. Carl Granderson only had 5.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble just a year before he led the team in sacks. Cameron Jordan is way behind his prime. He had 4 sacks last season, 1 interception. Once again, he's making a lot of money because of Mickey Loomis. He means a lot to New Orleans. He means a lot to Louisiana, but you don't go out there and you don't pay him what you're paying him right now. He's an aging pass rusher that's on the back end of his career. You are bringing back Chase Young, who has some up and down moments with New Orleans last season, but these are not true game changers at the pass rushing position. With the 9th overall pick, you can select someone like Jalen Walker coming out of Georgia. Go out there and get you a true pass rusher that can really affect the game right now, and they can really impact the game. Because you look at the Atlanta Falcons, they have a solid offensive line. They have Michael Penix Jr. now starting at the quarterback position. He's going to want to throw the football deep down the field to Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney. And the same with Drake London. You need a pass rusher. The Carolina Panthers, they have rebuilt their offensive line. They have one of the better offensive lines in the NFL now. And this organization lost to the Carolina Panthers last season. That was the game that got Dennis Allen fired. You need to go out there and impact Bryce Young in his game and his development. Bring him down to the ground. And the same with Baker Mayfield. They have all those wide receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Jalen McMillan, you have to go back there and put pressure on Baker Mayfield. And I look at the defensive coordinator that they're bringing in. I don't have that much confidence in this defensive coordinator that they have right now. So you're going to need all the talent that you can get, because you're bringing in Brandon Staley, who was the former head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. Look at how bad that defense was for many years. He was a solid defensive coordinator with the Los Angeles Rams, but the Rams had a lot of talent at that time. He was a complete bust with the Chargers as a head coach. And I know it's different when you're a head coach compared to a coordinator. But Brandon Staley doesn't make that many adjustments. He runs his defense more so off of talent than he does off of adjustments. And the Saints, they have talent here. Carl Granderson is still a very good player. Nathan Shepard, I like him a lot also. Demario Davis is still a solid linebacker to have. But he's starting to regress as a player. He's not putting up those big-time numbers, those big-time plays like how he was doing 2 to 3 years ago. But he's still a solid veteran linebacker to have around. Kool-Aid McKinstry, there's a lot of upside there with him at the cornerback position. He's a young player. He's only 22 years old. He's coming off his rookie season. You have Alontae Taylor, a lanky cornerback who was very solid last season with 16 pass deflections, because you lost Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo did have some bad moments last season, but Paulson Adebo was still a solid cornerback. He hurt his leg against the Denver Broncos. That was the last time that we saw him in a Saints uniform. And for the ones that want to say that he was a very penalized player last season, he was. They played him out of position. Dennis Allen has him guarding players similar to Tyreek Hill, Darnell Mooney. Why is he on the shifty, fast wide receivers? He's more so of a cornerback that can guard up with someone like a DK Metcalf, someone like a DJ Moore that's a little bit taller, that he can get physical with because he's a press man corner. They constantly put that man in bad situations over and over again, and he does have to step up as a player, but that's why I said Dennis Allen should have been fired a long time ago. And you're also bringing back Tyrann Mathieu, who has still been a solid veteran safety at that position. You have a lot of older players on the defensive side of the ball. So with the 9th overall pick, go defense. If Shedeur Sanders is there, go with Shedeur. But don't trade up for him, because you have bigger needs than the quarterback position right now. And when I look at the Saints, they're in a weird space, because right now they're not good enough to contend. They're just not. Not with the talent that they have and everything that they're lacking. This has to be a huge home run draft class for Mickey Loomis. The same draft class that he had many years ago that involved Alvin Kamara, Marshawn Lattimore, and those pieces. And you traded Marshawn Lattimore to the Washington Commanders. That was a good trade, because you get a mid-round pick. And you can play with that pick if you want to. You can move up in the draft in the 2nd or 1st round. But the Saints right now, it's time to move off of Derek Carr, because it sounds like this is a serious shoulder injury. This is not one of those situations to where he can just go out there, let it rehab, let it heal. If you limp into the NFL season, I guarantee you this, you're going to get carried out the NFL season, or you're going to limp right back out of it. You have to be 100% healthy entering the season. And unfortunately for Derek Carr, he's not fully healthy. I wanted things to work out with him and Dennis Allen, but they never did. But for his record to be 14-13 with this organization, it's mediocrity. That's what Derek Carr has been with the Saints, mediocre. And this is what the Saints have been since Sean Payton retired for that one season, and since Drew Brees also retired. And I blame all of this on ownership and Mickey Loomis. I like the head coach. I love the wide receivers and Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. Jawan Johnson is a solid tight end. He just has to stay healthy. When I look at the backfield one more time, Alvin Kamara is a very good football player. Please go back there and bring in a power back. They tried to do that with Jamal Williams. He was a terrible player with the New Orleans Saints. Jamal Williams was a special player with the Detroit Lions. He had led the league in rushing touchdowns just a year before. He comes over to the Saints, didn't have the juice. The offensive line assignments weren't the same. He wasn't able to stay healthy. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about this news with Derek Carr? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless.